it is so interesting that after the debate, everybody was in meltdown mode, including the campaign. It reminded me of Access Hollywood when everybody said, including Mike Lee, I would never support such a man or let anybody talk to my wife, or the guy that's at the front of the National Front carrying that flag. But we heard it was over then. I must say, on that phone all day yesterday, I was hearing just the opposite. I was hearing the opposite.
Looks like Joe Scarborough had a stern talking to by the Biden loyalists because he is completely flip-flopped on whether Biden should remain in the race. If you can recall, following Biden's disastrous debate performance, Scarborough was worried. And he aired those worries on MSNBC, much to the dismay of his wife and co-host, Mika Brzezinski. And it was a point of contention. If you don't remember, that's what this looked like.
I fear Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States unless things change.
President Biden let every fastball hanging out over the plate go right by for a strike for Donald Trump. So that was an indication that he was just not up to it. Last night.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on a second. That I agree with everything you said, except for the last part of it. Everybody calm down, and I'll tell you why. I mean, it's fine to not spin what happened last night, and we're not going to. Again,
by the way,
he had a terrible night.
Mika, everybody's calm here. You're the only one raising your voice. Everybody is calm here.
But again, it's the let's just immediately pull this. Let's end this. Let's find someone else.
Well, now Scarborough is making the insane argument that Biden is actually in an enviable situation, Cenk. Let's watch.
But Joe Biden now has what I would dream of having if I were running for president of the United States in his position. Joe Biden now can say he's having to fight media elites, New York Times editorial page, billionaire donors. They've been on the phone for a week and a half. Washington politicians, even though Mark Warner has now canceled his meeting. And the Congressional Black Caucus, by the way, not really happy with all of these people trying to substitute their elitist viewpoints for that of millions of Democratic primary voters. Joe Biden has a fired up, angry Democratic base. In parts, and he's got a lot of elites putting him in a position where he can look strong, staring them down.
So now, if you want the absolute best candidate to basically run against Donald Trump, so you increase your chances of beating Donald Trump, you're just an elitist. That's the new talking point. Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
So one of our members made a great point about that. Gavin Marita said, yes, nothing says the elites are against me like calling into the talk aristocrats on Morning Joe.
I know, so good.
We've told you 100 times. In fact, we're gonna show you a prediction clip here in a second that I think you guys are gonna love. But we told you 100 times that Joe Scarborough, Morning Joe, is the epicenter of the establishment. And Joe Biden obviously is the establishment. President, vice president, legendary senator. It doesn't get any more elite than Joe Biden. So the two most elitist people in the whole country pretending that they're fighting against the elites is hilarious.
Mika Brzezinski's family has a very close, cozy relationship with the Bidens. You don't get more elitist than that, okay?
And guys, keep this in mind. Most of the top media figures in this country have a relationship with Joe Biden and Jill Biden. They're friends. So Mika Brzezinski, Joe Scarborough, Whoopi Goldberg, they're all telling you that Biden should stay in. They're all friends with Joe Biden, right? So it's a massive bias, right? Even so, Scarborough, the day after the debate, said that Biden should step down. That's why him and Mika were fighting in that clip that you saw, because she wanted him to stay in and Joe didn't. And that's why he's like, everybody's calm here except you, Mika. He was catching feelings over that. And did you notice Mika Brzezinski saying, we're not going to spin this one? So you spin everything else.
I mean, they spin everything.
And right now they're back to spinning.
Yes.
So which brings us to the clip.
So Cenk had an incredible prediction and I know you can't wait to get to it, but I just want to go to one more clip of Joe Scarborough, Cenk.
Yeah.
Let's go to that, and then we'll go to Cenk's prediction.
But I suspect that these House members, and I started to suspect this a couple of days ago, Mika, that these House members were probably hearing back in their home districts. What I heard when I was vacationing with my kids.
Or what they were screaming in the church in Philadelphia.
Or what they were yelling in the church in Philadelphia. But when I was with my kids and the window was rolled down and had a couple different people go, "Hey, Joe, leave Biden alone."
Yeah, you did.
And that was like in the day or two after the debate. And it's anecdotal. Everything's anecdotal. But I've had enough calls from elites over the last couple of weeks who want him out, and enough calls from members of the sort of Democratic rank and file. They're not ready for him to get out, and they're wondering why the elites are splitting the party.
Right. So it's the elites that are splitting the party, and you're looking at the two most prominent cable news faces of Blue MAGA. These are the two main representatives of Blue MAGA on cable news who, on one hand, fearmonger about the threat of Donald Trump while simultaneously promoting the one candidate who has the lowest shot at beating Donald Trump. You can't have it both ways. Either Trump is a real threat or he's not really a big threat, and you just want your buddy to keep running against him knowing that he's got a good shot at losing.
Anna, what you said there is critical because they, in a sense, created Blue MAGA. They're the ones who told their audience over and over again, don't worry, Joe Biden is vibrant, dynamic, young, healthy. He's a dynamo behind the scenes. We had dinner with him for 3 hours. Trust us, he's great, right? And so then they create this Frankenstein that's their audience that doesn't believe in reality, doesn't believe in polling, etc. Then what does he tell them today? He tells them everything is anecdotal. No, polls aren't anecdotal, science isn't anecdotal. And the aggregate of polls have him down now 6 points after the debate. And he has to win by 5, so in essence, he's down by 11. That's not anecdotal, that's reality. The Blue MAGA audience that you created, echoing back to you that you should stick with Joe Biden, is anecdotal and is massively biased. But these knuckleheads, and you see how proud Mika is smirking like, I was right. Joe Biden, my friend, should stay in. I want you to remember all of them. When the Democrat, if Joe Biden stays in the race, he is going to get slaughtered. And we're gonna lose Congress very badly. And Trump's gonna have a landslide and he's gonna say, oh, I have a mandate to do anything I want. And I want you to remember the smug faces of Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough today.
We also want you to remember this.
I'll lay out a marker here. This is really interesting. To be fair to mainstream media, last night and this morning, they were actually universal, even through Joe Scarborough, and they were honest, and they were, because they were so shell-shocked by what happened. Like, holy cow, it turns out that everybody that was telling you things that are obvious were right? And so now let's see what the mainstream media does next. Because my guess is if I know them, they're gonna fall back in line. Morning Joe will be back next week going, well, I mean, that was bad. It was bad, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Joe Biden's great to corporations. I mean, he's great to the average American, yes. I mean, Joe Biden's so terrific. And remember, he did deliver on his #1 campaign promise that nothing would fundamentally change. So we have that to look forward to. We'll see.
I mean, you were right overall. Some of the specifics were incorrect because I just love like the framing that we're seeing from Morning Joe, where they're trying to accuse those calling for Biden to step down of being elitists.
Yeah, look, I not all of mainstream media has turned. So, and I think I said some, but anyways, but I mean, I nailed Morning Joe 100%.
You were right, yeah.
So, and guys, why do we show you these clips of us being right ahead of time? I mean, that's when I said that. Scarborough had just done a huge tirade about how Biden should drop out of the race. So it's a big thing to say, no, I'm gonna go on the record here and tell my audience, I think he's going to do a 180 and completely turn around. And then you see him doing it. The reason we do this is so that you can see how politics actually works. Because it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback And it's easy for people to say, well, afterwards, everybody knew afterwards. That's why we tell you ahead of time. So you can take our track record versus their track record, see who's lying to you, see who's honest, see who knows politics, who can do the right analysis. Because guys, there's a pattern. They always serve money. It's not that hard to figure out. And they always serve the people in power. So even, and you'll see it happen again with your own eyes next time. Whenever there's like a disturbance in the matrix and somebody does something obviously wrong, right? The establishment media will come out for about 24 hours and go, well, that was problematic, etc. And then over time, power reasserts itself and gets them to do the propaganda that they're paid to do. That's why Mika on that first day said, fine, we're not spinning this one. It's a giant admission that they spin everything, and now they're right back to spinning this one, just as predicted.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.